For folks who've just joined us, we're having slight technical difficulties. We're going to hold on starting right at 6 o'clock, allow for more people to log on, and hopefully be able to address our technical challenge here. So bear with us.
Well, you're looking better.
There we go. Better, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I think then we've got everybody here. I'm going to ask Cindy, will you read the statement of compliance into the record?
Yes. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act with the reorganization meeting notice advertised in the Trenton Times. The meeting notice was provided to the Hunterdon County Democrat, the Trenton Times, sent to department heads, members of the listserv, and was posted on the glass doors of the elevator entrance at City Hall. The meeting agenda was posted on the bulletin board at City Hall and the city's website at www.lambertville.nj.org. This session will be recorded using Zoom, and the recording will be posted to the city's website. The meeting agenda offers the planned action items of the governing body to the extent known at the time of publication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I get a roll call?
Councilwoman-elect Lambert.
Here.
Councilman Sanders.
Here.
Councilman-elect Stegman.
Here.
Councilwoman Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Fall.
Here. I'm going to ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to ask everyone to remain standing to honor all of those who are serving in our United States Armed Forces at home and abroad, and also for those who are fighting on the front lines of COVID-19. Thank you. Cindy, can I ask you to certify our election?
A statement of the determination of the Board of Canvassers of Hunterdon County, New Jersey, relative to an election held in the County of Hunterdon on November 3rd, 2020, for the election of the following mentioned officers of the City of Lambertville. 2 3-year city council seats, that said board does determine that Stephen Stegman and Benedetta Lambert were duly elected to serve on city council for a term expiring 12/31/2023. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you so much,
you.
Cindy.
Congrats.
So before we ask Mr. Phil Faraday, who was our long-term council to swear in our new council members elect, I just wanted to take a quick moment here. First of all, to just recognize that being sworn in to become a public servant for your community is such a great honor. It was one of the many highlights that I've had as a new mayor in this community. It was a great joy to be surrounded by friends and family and members, other elected officials, to celebrate this a battle hard won and certainly hard fought. I wanted to take a moment because of the national pandemic to recognize that you've been stripped of that joy and to thank both of you. Over the course of the last 2 months, we've been working diligently together on a transition. Councilwoman-elect Lambert has already agreed to become our liaison for the Recreation Commission and has already begun to push me on talking to community members who feel unheard. And Councilman Stegman has agreed to become our chamber liaison, as well as to work with me on the $50,000 Hunterdon County grant on our central business district zoning efforts. These are major policy initiatives for our next year. And I am so grateful that both of you have stepped up to say that regardless of politics, that we're all here to work for the city of Lambertville, and that work is hard and that we've got a lot to do and that we're willing to all work together to get it done. And I also just want to thank you too, because I think this is a wonderful opportunity for our community, that when there are times that we disagree, and I'm sure we will all 5 of us will experience those times, that we can model for our community how to disagree respectfully. So I'm really looking forward to seeing both of you sworn in on council today. And I want to thank you again for all the work that you've done before your duty really started to make this year a success. So with that, I'll turn the mic over to Mr. Faraday.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
I'd like to begin with Ms. Lambert. So, Benedetta,
I have to get my posse together.
place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Benedetta Lambert,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of council member
for the office of council member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. You're gonna give me a kiss?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Phil.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to that stranger up in the top right-hand corner. Stegman?
Phil, I will be doing this from here, and my hand is on the Bible here, and my hand's in the air over here.
Just
Oh my
repeat
goodness.
after me. I, and state your name,
I, Steve Stegman,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and the governments established in the United States
and the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all duties
perform all duties
of council member
of council member,
according to the best of my ability.
best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we move to the rest of our business tonight, I do want to recognize that both Assemblyman Varelli and Assemblywoman Verlena Reynolds Jackson have joined us for your swearing in. And I know that they will echo my comments that this is public service is not always an easy job, but I know that you two are the made of the right stuff, and I'm looking forward to getting started. So welcome to the team.
Thank you. Look
All
forward.
right. So with that, we have the election of our council president. Are there any motions for council president?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Julia Taylor as council president.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Are there any other nominations for council president? Hearing none, can I get a second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stegman. There's a first from Councilman Sanders, a second from Councilman Stegman. Can we get a roll call vote?
Sorry about that. Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Sanders,
Yes.
Councilman Stegman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Fall.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to take this moment. This is usually our general commentary for the mayor and the newly elected council president. I want to take a moment. We'll be doing the state of the city on January 15th this year.
14.
14th, I think.
January 14th. That's why Cindy actually runs the show. We're going to be doing the state of the city. We'll be going over our policy initiatives and plans for 2021. But I do want to take a moment here to instead talk about the incredible civil servant who was just nominated as our council president. The city of Lambertville is very lucky to have Julia Taylor as a member of council, and I think all the more luckier to have her as our council president. She is a tough cookie and has pushed me to be a better mayor over the course of the last 2 years that we've worked together. I know that she was appointed under the previous administration, but she has seamlessly integrated into our team and has been a force for thoughtfulness and engagement, even when that meant that our work was harder. We have big plans this year and a lot of long-term projects. I don't think that there would be anybody better at the helm than her. And I really appreciate, even with a full-time job and a young kid at home, her willingness to step up and do the hard work. So I'm really looking forward to working with you, Council President Taylor. And I hope that this year is going to be as fruitful as the last two.
Mayor, you have to give her the oath.
Oh, shoot. I just passed right over that. All right. Give me one moment here. Sorry, I had this up. My apologies, guys.
Can you read it?
Cindy, I'm sorry, would you, I can't, give me 1 second here. I had this up, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Here we go. All right. Council President or Councilwoman Taylor, repeat after me. I state your name.
Julia Taylor. I, Julia Taylor,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and the governments established
and the governments established
in the United States and in this state
in the United States and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all duties
and justly perform all duties
of the office of Council President
of the office of Council President
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Julia.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, so I've said my piece. I'm going to open up the floor if you'd like to say a few words about your new position.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you to everyone. This is, it's a big job, but we all have big jobs right now. So I really appreciate the work of my colleagues coming and going. Maddie and Beth, who I think are listening in. I really have valued my time working with them and deeply appreciate all that they offered to this community. I learned a great deal from both of them, and I'm a better servant to our community because of it. And similarly, Benedetta and Steve, welcome. And I really look forward to working with and learning with and from you. And to whatever degree I can offer anything to you, I certainly will be available to do that.
Thank you.
November, as the mayor referenced, marked 2 years since I joined council, but it's been since 2008 was my first official role in the city, serving on the Environmental Commission. And um, like I do with the city, I've dedicated my entire life to service, both professionally and personally. So to have the opportunity to do this, even in such a challenging time, is an honor. And I really look forward to hearing and learning from and working through all the different perspectives we have in our community, which is, as we know, a very special community. However, 2020 saw us more divided than ever, in a way that really distressed me, but it doesn't make me want to stop serving or make me want to work any less hard. I think the disagreement is really important, and disagreement that is respectful, and when there's a shared understanding that we're trying to get to a goal that we can all agree on, makes us stronger and makes the outcomes better. And that's what I really look forward to doing in 2021. My professional experience is in organizational and project management, and I really hope to bring some of those skills to bear in council. We do face a lot of challenging issues that all of us and all people in the community will be dealing with, but we also have the day-to-day work of the city to deal with and think about how do we, working through this virtual environment, but also all the new technology that's available to us across the board, how do we evaluate and perhaps change some of our communication processes? How do we make sure everybody, council, staff, community members, has the information they need to be effective advocates for their positions and for our community overall? So one of my main goals this year is working with the mayor to, again, evaluate and perhaps change how we do some of the things that we do as a body. And similarly, make sure that it's clear to everybody that the day-to-day work of the municipality is getting done. We know that it's getting done. Our staff are working very hard, and I appreciate each and every one of them for all that they do every day. But some of that doesn't necessarily get communicated to our residents. Sometimes people are worried about potholes, and we're talking about affordable housing and redevelopment. We can do a better job of making sure that everybody feels seen and heard, even as we deal with the challenges that face both our municipality and the world around us. This is a unique moment in time where we're trying to tackle social justice, and we're trying to tackle affordable housing, and we're also trying to fill the potholes. And I think that we're doing an okay job of all of that, but there's always an opportunity to do better. And even though the mayor and I don't always disagree or don't always agree, we
Don't
have
take either.
we have found a way to do so respectfully and to do so in a way that moves us forward and allows us to get the important work of the city done. So I look forward to serving in this role. I hope that the entire community will feel free to reach out to me at any time, as many people do already. And I thank my fellow council members for giving me this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I think we have to change your moniker for future Zoom meetings now. So before we move into our appointments, I do want to address, we've had some significant communication to the board over the course of the last 4 days, specifically regarding the appointments for planning board. While there were a lot of there was a diversity of those concerns, specifically regarding our Class 2 appointment, which is for a city official. I think the one that was most compelling to me was that Lieutenant Brown is already such a valuable member of the planning board in the ways that he is often consulted on traffic issues, specifically around parking and around any of the circulation issues that exist in the city. several emails. We all received a lot of emails for the last several days, but I received several emails requesting more diversity of thought from that particular position. And I found that to be really compelling. So we worked with Mr. Opal as well as, and I want to thank Council President Taylor, as well as Councilman Sanders, for calling me and sharing your own concerns and sort of vetting this idea out with me. I also want to thank the current chair of the planning board, Mr. Cool, for working with us. We do think as the ethics law stands, we think that this particular appointment can be filled with another officer of the city, particularly like the LMUA, someone from the LMUA. And so we're going to be working with Mr. Tom Horn, Mr. Cool, as well as the chair of the LMUA to try and find the right person to fit that role, which will allow us to sort of more significantly contemplate things like capacity issues at the LMUA, which is an important part of the development process. That being said, we also heard the community's concerns specifically about some of the national issues around appalling police brutality. And I want to take a moment, and I can understand, particularly from the last year, why there was an urgency in feeling like we needed to address that. Although I do think that some of that urgency was misplaced on our staff. So I wanted to just sort of talk about that directly. There is obviously a national conversation about race and policing and how that affects communities. And I've been working specifically with intellectuals and doctorates at Penn to talk through some of those issues since the murder of George Floyd this summer. Our police have been, however, an example of community policing. Specifically, they've done work on the forefront, and we are at the forefront of the state for some of the most interesting policing, and that was far before my time. We were the first in the county to receive body cams. We were the first in the county to be reporting data on race for motor vehicle stops as well as for arrests. We have, over the course of the last several months, been approached by the prosecutor's office at the county and by other municipal officials to model how Lambertville polices within our community. I want to also talk specifically about Lieutenant Brown, who has been an outstanding member of our staff and a paragon of what a committed community police director would look like. He has spent over 6 months working with the Human Rights Commission to hear out not only activists, but community members on their concerns about our policing. He has, with me and with the former administration, worked with Fisherman's Mark to meet with marginalized communities to talk about concerns about ICE and to educate those marginalized communities about access to their legal rights and protections. He has been a person who has gone out of his way to work within the lowest socioeconomic strata of our community to ensure that they are getting service, particularly around advocating them for renters' rights. And I'm really proud of the work that he has done, not only modeling leadership within our police department, which has been reflected in all of our police employees, but also how he has become a model and an advocate for state change to reflect this type of community policing. We do have real socioeconomic and race issues in our community. Those have driven a lot of the policy by which I have focused on my mayorship. I want to address a couple of those right now, specifically affordable housing, renters protection and renters advocacy, raising our staff's wages to a living wage and providing a broader band of healthcare and specifically dental and prescription healthcare. We have halted the practice of using prisoner labor for trash collection, and we have done a lot more than that. I'm really proud of the work that we have done to address systemic race and socioeconomic issues over the last 2 years. And I know that in particular that our affordable housing issue has been one that has been contentious within our community, but we know that access to affordable housing and the creation of more housing overall is the best way to catapult people, and specifically people of color, into the middle class. There's a reason that many of the Black Lives Matter protests across the country have turned into conversations about affordable housing. This is an important issue, not just for our community, but for our country, but it is an issue that we can really address in our community today. And so I'm really excited. We had a lot of people reach out to us over the course of the last 4 days, airing their concerns about what we were doing to address systemic racism. And the answer to that is, I think, a lot, but I think we can still do more. And I look forward to hearing from and working with those community members to address systemic racism and socioeconomic class issues that are hard felt in our community today. I've already spoken with multiple organizers of this action to call to not appoint Lieutenant Brown to the planning board, to work with us specifically on the next stages of our affordable housing plan, specifically at the police site. And I'm looking forward to working with them and hopefully combining that work with the Human Rights Commission, because this work is not an easy solution. The creation of more housing and affordable housing in particular addresses long-term systemic racism and systemic race issues. And that takes a long time to fix. This won't be felt this year or next year. This is about making real change in our community. And I appreciate everyone who reached out to us because their vigor and fervor was really felt. But I think that there's a lot that we can do to address issues that really affect our community today. So with that, I do want to once again thank Lieutenant Brown for all of the work that he's done. We are making a slight addendum to this appointment. We'll be appointing the Class 2 as a vacancy and dealing with that at the voting session this Thursday, the 21st.
Correct.
So are there any questions or comments from the board before we move to those appointments? Yes, Council President Taylor.
I just want to reiterate some of your points, Mayor, which primarily is that I think it's possible for us to both support and appreciate our police while also tackling some of these important questions. And I too read all of those emails and appreciate the heartfelt sentiments that we heard from a lot of different people on related but different topics. And I also want to say thank you to you, Mayor, and to the council for reconsidering when we did hear that there was differences of opinion about something we were about to do. So to Lieutenant Brown and to our entire police force, I appreciate you all the time, and I appreciate what you do. And I spoke to Lieutenant Brown today, and he acknowledges that all the good things our department does, but that there's always room for improvement, and he's open to that. And I think it's really critical that we don't shut down dialogue, that our Human Rights Council remains an open and inviting place to have some tough conversations, and that I hope to get more involved in. So thank you.
Thank you, Council President Taylor. And I do want to note here that, of everybody on this council, I know that you've devoted your life's work to this. And so I am really looking forward to using your expertise as we, start to delve into those issues. Councilman Sanders? Yeah,
I just wanted to, Julia, Councilwoman Taylor, or Council President Taylor, I agree with everything you've just said there, and many of the things I was planning on saying. Just on a point of order, we're skipped over to appointments. There were other council member commentary, so I didn't want to let Councilman Stegman and Councilwoman Lambert off the hook here for their.
Certainly, we had, as sort of is normally done on our agendas, the council commentary is at the end on item 14 or 15 on this agenda. But if you feel
I must be looking at an old agenda. It's under after the oath of office, but we can talk about it at the end. That's fine.
Okay.
Mayor, does as much as I love seeing the old city attorney, Phil, do you think that he needs to stay?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. We can release you, Mr. Faraday.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Phil.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Means a
much,
lot.
Phil.
Thank
Again, Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, is there any other commentary specifically on appointments? Hearing none. I believe we have one, we'll have to do the LMUA separately. So council, I think for now, can I get a motion to appoint for the Cable Television Advisory Team, the Celebrations Committee, the Environmental Commission, Historic Preservation, Human Rights, the Lambertville Free Public Library, the Office of Emergency Management, the Parks and Recreation, the Planning Board with the addendum of that vacancy, the Local Economic Assistance Board, Shade Tree Commission, and Zoning Board. I see. Can I get a motion for those appointments?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion.
Council President Taylor for the first, Councilwoman Lambert for the second. Can I get an all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, can I get a motion to approve the appointments for the Lambertville Municipal Utilities Authority?
Make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I think for clarity, let's do a roll call vote here.
Councilwoman Lambert,
I think I'm abstaining.
okay. Councilman Sanders,
Yes.
Councilman Stegman,
Yes.
Council President Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Fall.
Yes. We have a multitude of proclamations tonight. We won't read through all of them because there's quite a few. I do want to just point out some in particular. First, I'd like to thank all of the retiring board members. I know we had a lot of a wealth of new volunteerism spring up this year, which has been an ongoing trend I have been really excited about. There were members of boards who were not renewed, I know who, and some of whom even wanted to stay on those boards, but we did want to give folks an opportunity for new folks to serve. I'm really proud of the new crop we have appointed this year, but I want to thank everybody who has rolled off of a board or retired from a board for their service. This is a community that is run on volunteerism, and we could not do it without you. So each of them will be receiving that proclamation. We're also thanking the American Legion, that Training Post 120. They have been huge advocates for and help to us specifically in the COVID-19 crisis. But even before then, they have opened their doors to us time and time again as we have asked them to host food drives, electronic recycling. Anytime that we needed a helping hand, the American Legion in this community has stepped up and said yes. And they have been gracious and helpful while doing it. I'm very, very proud to have them as a cornerstone of our community, and I want to thank them publicly. I wanted to honor Mr. Dave Bird, who has served this community diligently for an incredible number of years. He has been our Office of Emergency Management Director. He was, he has served in almost every volunteer capacity that you could imagine in the city of Lambertville. And on top of that, he I think is a person who has been an evangelist and an advocate for the city of Lambertville, as from the moment that that his house, the border of his house moved from West Amwell to Lambertville. So I do want to thank Dave Bird for his service. And then finally, the last two proclamations are for our departing board members, former Council President Beth Acero and Councilwoman Madeline Urbish, for all of their work. So can I get a motion? Are there any questions or comments specifically on any of these proclamations? Hearing none, can I get a motion Cindy, can we motion to pass each of these together?
Yes.
Great. So can I get a motion to approve these following proclamations?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Lambert. Thank you, Council President Taylor. Can I get an all in favor? Aye.
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 Excellent. Moving on, can I get a motion to approve resolution number 1 of 2021 through 28 of 2020 as listed in the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Stegman. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Council President. I think we'll do a roll call vote as this is the consent agenda here.
Councilwoman Lambert,
Yes.
Councilman Sanders, Councilman Stegman,
Yes.
Council President Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Fall.
Yes. Okay. So now, give me a moment here.
Council comments.
Yes. So at this time, could I ask for council comments? I guess we'll go in order of seniority. So Councilwoman Lambert, would you mind going
Not a-
first?
Let's, wait a minute, who's going first? Steve?
No, I was suggesting that Councilman Stegman go second as he's semi more senior. But
Oh.
Steve, if you prefer to go first, I'm happy to allow you to go first. There's no.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. I prepared a little something. I wasn't quite sure what to say. I do want to say that before I get into what I wrote, which is short, I promise. I am very happy to be part of this governing body, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. We've had some opportunity over the last several weeks to work together, and I do think it's going to be a productive, collaborative relationship going forward. So I'm looking forward to it. To the people of the city, I am honored to be chosen by the people of Lambertville to represent you on City Council. I want to thank everyone and let you know that I am deeply committed to serving our community, listening to every concern, and acting in concert with the community to build the Lambertville we want to see. We've just concluded 2020, perhaps the most challenging year any of us has ever experienced. This past year presented our community and each of us with obstacles unlike any other year in recent memory. We've been challenged on all fronts: physical and mental health, economic, financial security, societal and personal relationships. These things have made us stronger by having to go through them, but we also need to remember that we have to stay vigilant, to work together to address COVID and the threat it presents to us as a community and our society at large. We've got a light at the end of the tunnel. Let's not mess it up. That's my very technical term. As we move into the new year, 2021, and the continuation of this pandemic, I actually look forward to going beyond the pandemic and hope to work with fellow council members, City Hall staff, and support people to provide our government that serves the needs of our community and not without adding additional burdens to us, to our community. So I will work to find ways to move into the future without sacrificing the heart of the Lambertville that we love, because we know Lambertville is and always has been a place of caring people who come together to work toward a common goal. Thank you for the privilege of serving you, and good wishes and happy holidays, healthy new year to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Stegman?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank those who worked hard for us the support of the residents of the city of Lambertville in the primary and the general that made today possible. It's interesting, today marks a celebration of the peaceful transfer of power that dates back to the elections of 1800 that were held during the first party system election in our country. To that, I would like to thank former council members Beth Acero and Matty Urbish for their dedication to the city and to their families for allowing them to share their precious time here on council. I know firsthand what that means, and I acknowledge that commitment as well by our current serving elected officials and their families. The challenges before us as a city are very, very important, and as the decisions that we need to make on spending over development, protecting our environment, and preserving the historic buildings we own and their continued use, to name a few. While concurrently, we undertake perhaps what is the largest project in the city history, the purchase of the Clausen property and its future uses. However, more importantly, are the actions the governing body has taken and will take to protect our residents and business community as we move through a COVID world to a post-COVID reality. Those actions will hold us all accountable. I look forward to working with the mayor, the council, our city professionals and employees and residents to embrace Lambertville's past as we craft our city's future. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sanders, I fear I'm going to use your words against you. I won't let you off the hook. If you'd like to say something, you're welcome to.
Sorry, I thought it was this segment was earlier in the show, but sorry about that. So I'll just speak very briefly. First, I wanted to wish everyone a happy new year, and may 2021 be a better year than 2020. And I look forward to recognizing the days of the week as they occur for what they are, and not think of every day as Blur's Day, as the New York Times word of the year. So, and in this theme of thank you, I did want to congratulate our new council members, Steve Stegman and Benedetta Lambert. I've known both of you for a very long time. I know your interest in public service and your commitment to the city, and I know that your varied interests and your professional background will serve you well, and as you serve the city, and I look forward to working with both of you. I also wanted to congratulate newly elected Council President Julia Taylor, the Council President since her original appointment and election has proven to be a valuable asset to the city. And I'm not sure if everyone recognizes your hard work and all of your insights that you're able to bring to bear on the key issues, as a lot of this has not been in public meetings, but rather behind the scenes. But make no mistake about it, your expertise has been important in steering us and the city in the right direction. And as Council President, you'll have expanded opportunities for you to do so. So I was happy to make that motion to have you serve as Council President. Thanks, as has been mentioned, to our outgoing council members, Beth Acero and Madeline Urbish, for your service. I thought this, Councilman Stegman said nicely, this is not only a public service that you've done well, but it's also something that impacts everyone's family. So appreciate that and that of your families for that. Thanks again to the staff. While not on these Zoom calls and not always in front of the public, it's easy to sometimes forget and recognize their work. I really appreciate the work of all of our city employees and the professionals. Again, just because they're not necessarily in front of us all the time and on these Zoom meetings, they should not be forgotten, and their hard work should be recognized. This theme has come up a little bit too, is I did want to thank the members of the public who have chosen to engage in the key issues impacting the city and our fellow residents. I've been thinking a lot about this, that COVID has had an interesting impact on the workings of government and its relationship with constituents. I'm sorry that I miss that we don't get to meet in public as a body. We don't get to feel your energy, to talk to you before and after meetings in person. That forced social distance has taken that away. And it's not just at the local level. I'm sure it's at the county levels. I haven't been there. It's certainly at the state level as the state conducts most of its business in Zoom meetings. On the other hand, these electronic meetings have also, in some ways, increased public participation. And I'm sure it's easier to call in and participate in Zoom from the comfort of your home. So, COVID may have cut both ways in this respect in terms of public participation. But whether it's in person or electronically, the input that the engaged citizens, and there are many, have provided has helped me, and I think our decision making. I've changed my perspective on a number of issues after hearing from thoughtful members of the public. I want to make sure that we have spirited dialogue, and the benefit if it's less personal, but I don't want to sort of limit appropriate and thoughtful comments. And COVID's impacting it's the sort of defining issue of our time. It's affected my family, our neighbors, friends in some profound ways. Saying goodbye to loved ones over Zoom and FaceTime is not something that I would have ever expected, but sadly, many of us have had that experience. It's, as I say, it's also had an impact on the government at a lot of levels. Unlike the federal government, state and local governments need to have balanced budgets. We can hope for and ask for and advocate for federal funding as we have. We can't necessarily depend on success in those efforts. And as a result, we'll need to proceed with caution and recognize that the COVID pandemic has had a disproportionate impact on people based on many factors, including their income, class, employment, age, race, and more. As elected officials and stewards of public dollars, we need to be mindful that our experience may be not the same as that of our neighbors, and our neighbors is not the experience of their neighbors. As I look to 2021 in closing here, I just wanted to note a number of things that I hope we can accomplish as a group, including improvement in our focus and performance around the core quality of life issues like trash removal, street sweeping, and road repairs, really the bread and butter of local government. I think we can and should do better in those regards, and look forward to working with my colleagues on that. And improving public trust by encouraging healthy and less heated dialogue with members of the public, I think is important. And I'm interested in enacting a local pay-to-play ordinance, which I've talked to some of the members of the governing body about, again, relating to public trust. And I think we really need to focus on efficiencies as we try to learn to do more with less in this area of COVID. Again, congratulations to those elected today and seated today. Best wishes to those that have left their service. And I look forward to a productive year with my colleagues and our residents.
Thank you, Councilman Sanders. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to putting that pay-to-play ordinance on the agenda. I think this is well overdue. With that, just a couple of brief announcements. The State of the City address will be scheduled for January 14th at 6 p.m. It'll be pre-recorded, but will become available at that time as we can't meet in person. Dog and cat licenses are due no later than Friday, February 26th. We'll get them in early. There are late fees. Parking stickers expired at the end of this year. You have to reside in front of a metered parking space, and the vehicle has to be owned by you, including your license and registration. But we encourage you to get your parking sticker for next year. The Justice Center parking spaces are available. So if you are interested in leasing a parking space, you can contact Tina. And then finally, we're going to be hosting a governing body retreat. It's scheduled for January 15th from 8 to 10 a.m. This is our second or third version of this retreat. It just allows us to, it is an open public meeting, but there will be no voting. This is just an opportunity for the five of us to work together as we start to outline our goals and policy initiatives for the year, and to figure out how best we can move forward, at least in the first 6 months of our work. And so that will also be held over Zoom. It's usually held in the working room of City Hall. With that, are there any other announcements that members of council would like to make? Hearing none, then we will open for public comment.
Any hands raised, Mayor? Oh,
Oh,
Sean.
there's one. Sean, please state your full name and address into the record, then please proceed with your comment or question.
Can you hear me? Great. I just want to commend, oh, I'm sorry, my name is Sean Ellis. I live at 204 Brunswick Avenue. I just want to commend the mayor for doing the right thing on the appointment, with the planning, regarding the planning board. I think it's the right thing to do because I don't think that if we are encouraging public comment, I don't think it's right to put people in the place of having to dissent or present a dissenting opinion to a police officer in the community. I have nothing against Robert Brown. Personally, I think he's a very honorable and respectable person, and I don't want him to take this personally. It's really just about the power dynamic on our planning board, and I just want to thank you, Mayor, for doing that.
I appreciate your comment. I know you did a lot of organizing over the last several days to, advocate strongly to this body. And I just want to thank you also for, even though you and I strongly disagree on this issue, that we were able to do so in a really respectful manner that I think netted a result that, I think we're both sort of we both don't like, which is sort of the best way that that you've compromised. I do want to note here that Lieutenant Brown, just for public record, that Lieutenant Brown has often, at least when we were meeting in person, often attended planning board meetings and will likely continue to attend planning board meetings as he also attends city council meetings. But I do want to thank you for your advocacy. I think you've modeled in this way, again, a way for people to strongly disagree with each other and do so respectfully. And I really want to commend you on it.
Thank you.
Clinton resident, please state your full name and address into the record, then proceed with your comment or question.
Lily Chen, 17 Clinton Street. I want to ditto what Sean just said, and I really appreciate you, Mayor, for changing your status on the appointment of Lieutenant Brown. I think for the community, that was the right thing to do. And thank you very much for changing your mind.
Thank you.
Evan, please state your full name and address into the record, and please proceed with your comment or question.
Good evening, everyone. This is Evan Light. I live at 9 Arnett Avenue. I also wanted to thank the mayor and council for listening to the concerns that the public had about this appointment. I had emailed Mayor Fall today with the concern as well. And I just wanted to I really do appreciate you listening to everyone. And I'm glad we were able to get to a better decision on this. I too personally think the world of Lieutenant Brown, which I'd expressed in the email too. He has been such an advocate for Lambertville. I know with a lot of nonprofit stuff that I've done with Rolling Harvest Food Rescue, he's been there and he's been fantastic. So I just think this was the right decision, and I'm just very appreciative that we were able to get there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Judy, please state your full name and address into the record, then please proceed with your comment or question.
Judy, you're muted.
I see that I'm muted. Judy Gleason, 86 North Union Street. I wasn't going to say anything, but everyone is saying it, and I didn't want you to think that I didn't appreciate that you also took into consideration, because I sent an email as well. And I think it bodes very, very well for our upcoming year to know that the council is alert to what the people are talking about and thinking about. And I too appreciate very much the decision you have made, Mayor, about taking this approach a little differently. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments, Tina?
There are, yep, one more. Benjamin, please state your full name and address into the record, then please proceed with your comment or question.
Hi everyone. This is Ben West, 48 Coriel Street. Excuse me. Yeah, I think this is a great decision, and I applaud the mayor. I want to connect this issue to the upcoming budget planning. I think a lot of us, since the murder of George Floyd last May by Minneapolis police, have been really engaging with anti-racist movement. And many of us joined the tens of millions of Americans who marched under the Black Lives Matter flag this past summer. And we stood our ground to the caravans of pickup trucks flying thin blue lines that came through before November. And we turned out en masse to vote their candidate out of the White House. And so I think that it's important when we turn to budgeting for next year that we consider what the demands of that movement have been regarding the huge amounts of money that are spent on policing in this country. And I think that's important here in Lambertville for us to focus on that too. So I did write to the mayor to oppose appointing a member of the police department to the planning board, because we shouldn't be expanding the role of police in our society. And over the coming months, many of us will also oppose any budget proposal that doesn't move money away from policing. The police receive $1.5 million in 2021, which is half of our municipal spending. They're going to be asking for millions of dollars for a brand new police station, and I expect many of us will oppose that too. And I just want to end by saying, over time, this money really adds up, and we should think about the other things that we could be doing with it. One quick example, Lambertville is very proud of its industrial past, but the CO2 emissions that built this town and many of the homes that we live in have contributed to the climate crisis that's causing terrible harm to people, particularly people living far away in the global south. So I think one way to think about this is that instead of spending millions of dollars on policing, we could think about starting to pay our fair share to repair some of the harm that we've caused. And in closing, we believe in Lambertville in the science of climate change. We believe in the fact of systemic racism growing out of 245 years of legal slavery in this country. And so we believe in those things, but the question remains, will we as a progressive community act for justice? And we've done it in the past. It's one of the reasons that I moved here. I hope that we can continue to do it and do it in the future.
Thank you for your comments. I want to address a couple of things that you've mentioned here. First of all, the city's budget is $6.2 million. So what the salary and wages and other expenses for the police department does not equal half of our municipal budget.
I think I said,
excuse me, I'm speaking, Mr. West.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Second of all, the police department did not request a new police station. The police department has been partners with our city government in working towards finding a solution for affordable housing within our community and our affordable housing obligations. In doing so, we identified a municipal site as the best option to provide not only affordable housing, but some housing densification that was appropriate within our community bounds. We know that housing densification and provision of affordable housing creates actual systemic change towards not just racial, but socioeconomic and racial justice for communities, which is one of the reasons I'm so proud of that work. And third, I'd like to just state here that I appreciate your calm and reasoned outreach to us. And I know that you've been a participant in our Human Rights Commission meetings, but I would like to state here, because I know many of our police officers are on the line tonight, that I disagree strongly with you that this is an opportunity for us to defund the police. In fact, there's a Gallup poll that came out not long after the the George Floyd murder that says that 80% of Black Americans would like to see the same or more policing in their communities. I think that, again, adding Lieutenant Brown to the position of planning board member was not an expansion of police power, but an opportunity to integrate our police further into how our community is shaped. And that allows for them to have not just access to community members and to hear their needs and their concerns, but also to have direct public oversight. This is what communities should be doing. And I will continue, at least for as long as I'm mayor, to be supportive of our police department, who has done a lot of work in our community to address the issues of the marginalized populations that exist in our communities, and to work with us as we try and address systemic social racism that's from histories, not just of slavery, but histories of problematic zoning regulations that have kept Black and brown people out of communities like ours. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if I'm still muted, but I commend a lot of what the mayor just said. I just think that when I talked about half of the municipal spending, I think a good portion of our budget every year goes to paying down previous debt. So I was talking about spending on services. I think it does come to about half of the city spending on actual services. So, you know, I think in the email that I wrote to the mayor on this issue of the appointment to the planning board, I said, you know, I think it would be great to have someone on the planning board who could represent the interests of the people who do not yet live here, but who might choose to do so if some of the barriers to them moving here, economic and racial barriers, went away. And so I think where the mayor and I disagree, and I think that there's a lot of soul searching that people need to continue doing, is about whether the appropriate way to achieve the goals that we seem to share is through further reliance on policing. And I don't think that the poll that the mayor cites is decisive of this issue. And I think that if you wanted to look at polling as a way prior to change, I would just point out that Martin Luther King Jr. was never very popular during his lifetime, yet we now hold him up as you know, a hero. So I think we have to lead on some of these things rather than follow.
Thank you for your comment. I don't see any more hands. Tina?
No, none.
Okay. Yes, Councilman Stegman.
Yes, I would just like to thank the mayor and council from her first phone call to both Ben and I to come and meet and discuss our thoughts about the city and to share our experiences together while in office and also in the city was such a warm and welcoming thing for the mayor to do for both of us to make us feel comfortable. So thank you so much, Mayor, for having that outreach. And also in the past week, Ben and I both also received the emails that most of the other council members have received. And during that time, both Councilman Sanders and Council President Taylor have reached out to Ben and I to get our input on how we felt about the appointments to the planning board. And so I thank you both for including us in the conversation, which just tells me that going forward, we will have a very, very collaborative effort, not only with other council people, of course with the mayor as well. And I look forward to working together to address the concerns of that we have and that the public has, quite frankly. And I look forward to that challenge. And
Thank you, Mr. Stegman. And Councilman, I hope that both you and Councilwoman Lambert will avail yourselves of calling me directly if you ever have concerns about any agendas, any items in particular. I hope that you don't feel that you can only speak to other members of council, but that we can work collaboratively together moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, before we move to adjournment, I want to take a quick moment of personal privilege. Last night at 9:40, my niece Hazel was born. And both, I think so too. Hazel Hackey, it's great. Both her and my sister-in-law Oz are doing well and we're preparing to come home tomorrow. But while I have 70 or so members of the public, I'd ask for everybody's thoughts and prayers as they recover in Hunterdon Medical Center.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm very excited. And so with that, can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Usually this is much quicker. All in favor, say aye. Can I get an all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, excellent. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Look forward to
Thank
working
you,
with every
Zoe.
single one of you.
Thank you.
Fun.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.